Hi, good evening. This is Ariane. I'm the co-founder of WeddingMix Media, and tonight we're going to have our Google Hangout on air, or WeddingMix Brides on air, and we're going to be talking about 5 pre-wedding moments and how to capture them on video so you can have them in your wedding video. We can also discuss how to capture photos. If you have any questions, you can feel free. I have the questions app open, so you should be able to ask any questions and they'll show up. There we go. Cool. I'm going to give it a few more minutes and just see who else signs in, and so then we can take some questions. Alrighty, cool. So what we're going to be talking about tonight, like I said, I have a blog post, and we also have one of our WeddingMix infographics that talk about 10 key moments that are really important to capture on video. In fact, they're things I wish I had captured on video from our wedding. And I'm going to go through some tips tonight on different moments you might want to capture, and also how to film them, how to help your guests or your family members to film these events. Sorry, angle this a little bit better. Alrighty. So a little background. Part of the reason we started WeddingMix is because we had a killer party. I mean, killer wedding. We spent months planning this party, and we spent most of our budget on the booze and the bar van, and DIY'd everything else. So we had months of planning and learning to DIY and creating all these projects. And after the wedding, we had photos, but we didn't budget for a video, so we didn't really have anything to look back on that showed all these projects getting created, and then the aftermath, you know, showed them in action. And so I'm going to go through some of them and share some of the stories and how I would have filmed them and how I recommend filming them. And you can feel free to post some questions. This Google Hangout will be going on the blog as well, so if you have any questions, you can put them there as well, and I will create different tutorials to go with each moment. We do have a series going on the blog right now, the Tuesday tutorials, that go through these different pre-wedding events and how to film them. So for the first one, let me pull up the notes. Okay. For the first one, I would say one of the first key moments that any bride has is the dress shopping. For myself, I decided, you know, I had these bridesmaids coming in from all over the country, and we were going back to the East Coast to try on gowns. Now, again, since I had a total DIY wedding, I actually made my own wedding dress. I know that's kind of crazy, given that I didn't know how to sew. But so I wasn't trying to find the one when I went dress shopping. However, what I was doing was going out with my mom, with my best friends, with my family to try on dresses and to have them find dresses that they loved. And it really is a once-in-a-lifetime moment. I mean, yeah, I wasn't doing the say yes to the dress type thing, but we were getting people in from all over the country for one moment. I mean, that's why that whole TV show got started, right, was to learn how to find the dress that you love. But it's more than just finding the dress. I mean, if that was it, it would be a 2-minute TV show. It's the whole drama behind it. It's talking about your hopes, your fears for the wedding, for what you look like in a dress, for what looks best in your body style. And that's the type of thing that would be great to film for your own wedding video. So at my dress fitting, there was some great drama that I wish we could still relive. You know, the whole, she looks like a cow in that dress. And, you know, every bridesmaid pulling me aside individually to tell me how bad everyone else looked, or how they wanted this color and not this color. Or, you know, just all the drama from the dress shopping makes for great video later on. And especially if you have a wedding blog and you're talking about this, to actually show it on video is super powerful. So what I would recommend from the dress shopping is actually prepare ahead of time a few interview questions for your mom, your dad, whoever's coming along, and ask them some questions about their own wedding that they can share, that you can relive later on. So things like, you know, Mom, tell me about your wedding dress, or your dress shopping, or even Grandma's, and really make it into a moment that you're going to relive and enjoy forever. Because this dress shopping is more than about you. It's about your parents seeing their little girl trying on a dress for the first time. And even, you know, having your bridesmaids there, the other part of it, I mean, yeah, it's the tear-filled trying on the dress, but it's also the tear-filled drama of the bridal party. You know, this might be the first time they're all getting together for the first time. So having everyone meet each other, having everyone see how they look in the gowns, these are all things, you know, I would film, ask them all individually what they had hoped for in a gown, and even what they had hoped you would get in a gown. And you really can create your own little say yes to the dress. And of course, have everyone do the spin. Get photos and video of the staff at the bridal salon, of trying on and picking out how you decide which dresses to get. And, you know, especially get your family's reactions to seeing you there, to seeing you do the spin and putting on the veil. Those are all really special moments that are only going to happen once, and you are going to want to include it later on in your wedding video. So the next key moment from my own wedding that I did not capture on video, and I wish I did, was the DIY wedding invitations. Again, like, I'm going to go through, there's a lot of DIY here. We did not, you know, this was before the days of the Photoshop templates and things like that you could easily download and print out. When I say we DIY'd our wedding invitations, we did still have to get some parts of it printed, but so we had the inserts, you know, where it had our actual names and the date and the church and, you know, that part of it professionally printed and cut, but then we had to glue that onto a backing and another piece of poster board. And then I had the brilliant idea to emboss them all. No idea how to emboss. So as part of this, I went to the boutique paper store in our town where we lived and, you know, learned how to emboss. I took some lessons and, you know, got all the materials. And it was a whole process. It was a whole, you know, learning moment. It wasn't just let's, you know, print some things out. But obviously I couldn't do 200 wedding invitations myself. So I enticed everyone else in the family and my friends, my bridesmaids, that, hey, you really want to help me make these embossed wedding invitations. So we got everyone together. My father-in-law was a war veteran, not a paper specialist, and he was there too, embossing with glitter and glue until the wee hours, and we were all drinking, and it was just a moment. You know, it was a fun evening of the most unlikeliest people getting together with glitter, beer, wine, and glue guns, lots of glue guns. And alcohol and glue guns makes for a fun party as you get the strings of glue and glitter in the air, creating just wild creations everywhere. So the DIY wedding invitations, there were just stories going around about people's own invitations, where their weddings were, And again, this is another time to, talk to your in-laws about where was your wedding at? What mishaps happened on the way? What happened with your wedding invitations? People always have big fail stories with their wedding invitations, and it's a great time to film everyone talking about their own weddings and their own memories of what happened, especially if you have extended relatives there or older relatives there for these different DIY projects, their own weddings. I mean, that's something you're not going to have forever. For both myself and my husband, this was our grandmother's last event for both of us. So anything I could have gotten on video about my grandmother talking about her wedding would have been amazing, and I don't have that. So these are the times, when your grandmother, when your family is getting together to help you with these fun pre-wedding projects, talk to them and really learn from them about their own weddings and any advice they have for you. So what I would recommend specifically for invitations is with your phone, get some good close-ups, photos and video of the invitations. So what you want to do, this way. First of all, when you're filming them, this way, right? Because any video that you look at, Hollywood movie, anything on your TV is this way, not this way. I know it's convenient to, here, I'll take it out of the carrier. I know it's convenient to hold the phone this way. However, when you're watching a long video, it looks really kind of funny when it's upright and it has the black bars and stuff on the side. We can still use it in your WeddingMix project even if it's sideways, but it definitely looks a lot better this way. So all you're going to want to do is hold it with two hands and kind of brace yourself like a tripod and film some close-ups of the wedding invitations. Let's see if you can see that. And let's see if I can get to the right page on this. Okay. So on the wedding invitations, get some photos, but also, kind of glide your camera around and really show all the details in your invitations and, when it is, where it is, because those are the things that make nice memories later on. And if you're filming it during the process of actually making the invitations, you can get, you can make sure you have the lighting right and all that, whereas if you wait till the wedding to film the invitation, it might just be sitting on a dark table somewhere. So it definitely helps to film it ahead of time. And the nice thing is, even if it's dark, the iPhone, and I'm sure the Android too, has a light on it. So you'll get some good footage that way. So again, hold it sideways. And especially if you're interviewing people, make sure, if you're interviewing family members, make sure they have the light in front of them when you're talking to them about the different projects and their memories of their own weddings. So, let's see. Now, the next project I'm going to talk about that I truly am kicking myself for not getting on video is the DIY wedding dress. For me, I mean, I know it really does sound crazy to DIY your wedding dress. I did not know how to sew, but I had big budget dreams for my wedding dress and a $500 budget, and I was a bit of a fabric snob and did not want a $500 wedding dress. So what I did was I spent some of the money. I flew to New York, or actually I think I actually did it when I went back to New York for the dress fittings. I went to the wholesale fabric stores there and spent the money that I would have spent on a whole dress just on fabric and a pattern. And then I had a friend who knew how to sew, and luckily for me, she completely lied to me and told me it would be super easy, even without knowing how to sew, that it would be super easy to make my own wedding dress. I mean, it was an out-and-out lie, total lie, but I'm glad she did. So I spent months, first learning how to sew as a whole. I had taken home ec when I was, 11 or 12 or something in school, but after that I had no idea how to sew. So, so first I had to learn how to sew and make a practice dress, and then I had to actually you know, buy books, watch videos, whatever, and learn how to sew. So, you know, as part of that, it would have been amazing, first of all, to get video of my trip through the fabric store in New York, like my actual trip to New York, and feeling all the different fabrics, and, you know, getting close-ups to really get an idea and take pictures of this process of making my dress. I mean, it's crazy. So some of the things I would have gotten was flying to New York, definitely. The fabric stores. I mean, 37th Street, there was a whole block of fabric stores, you know, going into each one. The next one I wish I had gotten was measuring the fabric. There were 19 yards of tulle. You know, like, who has a 19-yard space to actually measure out tulle? That was what I did. Somehow I measured out 19 yards of tulle and made the underskirts, I think it was called. You know, just learning how to, even simple things like learning how to sew a straight line that you would take for granted if you know how to sew. Part of it also, my friend was a seamstress, but she wasn't going to let me off and like make the dress for me or anything close to that. But I did spend a lot of time at her house knowing how to, you know, she taught me things like sewing in a straight line or how to cut the fabric, how to measure it. So that time with my friend was invaluable, and it would have been great, all that time I spent at her house, and she was reminiscing about her own wedding, and in fact about the process of her learning how to sew. Would have been amazing to get photos and videos of. And especially, you know, that's the time, the twirl, that would have been amazing. The first time I put that dress on, you know, I mean, there's the bodice and the skirt, and they're two separate things, and it's not until the very, very end that you attach them. You know, you can try on the bodice and fit it and alter it, which is what I did, and then you can try on the skirt and fit it and alter it, but attaching them together and sewing on the zipper, that's the very last thing you do. It would have been amazing to actually get video of me zipping it up for the very first time, especially since I had a big surprise doing that, because what I didn't realize was, you know, the more you alter the bodice, the weight of those 19 yards of tulle, aside from all the yards of silk, we're going to totally weigh down the bodice. So, you know, we adjusted it. I tried it on, and we adjusted it. It was kind of a halter top type thing, and then an A-line skirt. And we adjusted the bodice separately. But when we attached the skirt to it and sewed it, and I tried it on, the weight of it actually dragged down the bodice, so what had been cut up here was cut down here for the actual wedding day, and we had no idea until right before the wedding when we were putting it all together. The shock would have been amazing to capture on video. Shock. I mean, that was basically it, to see where the dress wound up. Actually, that's the topic of another another moment I missed on video. Also, when you're hemming a wedding dress, you actually have to hang it up and sit inside of it to get a proper hem. So it would have been good for somebody else to get video of me sitting with my head up a wedding dress and spinning around on a chair, properly sewing the hem. It was quite a memory, and it's wonderful to think about now, but imagine if I could actually see it, like see the different parts of the dress coming together, and to have gotten that on video. So what I would recommend with, again, it's another DIY project, but think about the fact that you're gonna, for a dress, let's say, it's huge. So you're gonna want it, first of all, to be very well lit, and you're gonna want to be kind of far away to get the enormity of the thing, right? Like for me, I think I had maybe 4 or 8 foot train, and then I decided not to bustle it. I decided to do, I don't even remember the term, but where you wrap it around your wrist. So to get the enormity of the dress, you have to make sure you're filming it in a pretty well-lit area, but also a pretty big room so you can get far enough away to get this whole ridiculous dress in. So that part of it is pretty good, and it would help if you had something to stand on, kind of like on Say Yes to the Dress, like a pedestal, stack of books, but don't fall off. boxes, heck, even a couch, just something so you could see how the dress actually drapes. So that was my DIY dress moment. Okay, so again, the next moment, I would say, I really wish I had captured on video. And hold on, let me just check. Cool. The next moment from my own wedding that I did not get on video that would have been absolutely priceless was the DIY wedding cake. I had been a cake decorator for years, and so I always just assumed I would make my own wedding cake. I had done it, you know, as a hobby and then a little bit professionally, and I always knew in my heart I would make my own wedding cake, and I thought, you know, that's just a given. I mean, I didn't know how to sew, I didn't know how to make invitations, but I was definitely going to make my own wedding cake. What I didn't consider is that it's just that crazy to make your own wedding cake. You have to put this thing together like the day before the wedding, and hello, you're a little bit busy the day before the wedding, or even 2 days before the wedding. It's crazy. So, but I was adamant I was going to do this. I made a practice cake, and you know, that came out pretty well. I had it all planned out that I was going to be decorating it. We were getting married on a Saturday, and I was going to decorate it on Thursday, and that was my plan. And then I was going to leave it out, and a friend of mine had already agreed to transport it and assemble it at the venue. What I did not count on was getting carpal tunnel the week before, or slowly developing it, and then it getting to the point by the week of the wedding that I couldn't hold a pencil, let alone hold a pastry bag and squeeze it. I couldn't squeeze with my hand, and my hand was all swollen. It was terrible, and I had no way to make the wedding cake and no backup. So I did what any sane bride would do who was already insane enough to make her own wedding cake, and I got one of my bridesmaids drunk and convinced her to do it, even though she didn't know how to decorate a wedding cake. So I had a very simple design. It was just iced smooth with some scallops around the top, some ribbon around the sides, and daisies on the top. Daisies were my flower. That's what I loved. However, it's, you know, not an innate skill to know how to ice a cake smooth nor to do scallops. So, and I couldn't mix the icing. I couldn't do anything. So, like I said, she wasn't totally drunk. She was just the right level so that she wasn't scared to make the wedding cake. So we assembled the cake, and we may or may not have dropped some of it on the floor from the middle of it, and may or may not have shoved it back in with icing after hitting each other with it. Not sure. I was a little tipsy then too. Again, would this have made for a great video? Yes. Did I get it? No. These are the types of moments, these crazy, crazy, bat crazy things that you do 2 days before your wedding when you are completely out of your mind, either out of nervousness or excitement. In my case, I was just crazy excited and knew that we had a ton of things to do. I wasn't nervous. I was just crazy. And that would have been great on video to get all of those moments of crazy cake on the floor. So what you want to do with a wedding cake, I would definitely recommend, again, holding the camera sideways, doing like a glide around the cake to get all the different sides. That's also good for, then you can prove when one of the groomsmen decides to stick his finger in it during the wedding, before everyone gets to eat it. You have video of what it looked like before, that indeed someone did stick their finger in your wedding cake. I've seen that in some of our wedding videos, actually. A groomsman caught on tape doing that. Anyway, hold the camera sideways. Again, you would want to glide around the cake, so just literally like gliding motion with your feet to keep it smooth and get all aspects of the cake all the way around it. It depends how tall it is. I mean, cupcake cakes are pretty popular. Those, you know, again, you want to have a well-lit area. With cakes themselves, I mean, that's pretty much it. You know, a few photos, but definitely the making of the cake is what you would want to get on video. It's what will be amazing to remember years later. Okay. And the last moment I'm going to talk about is the steam iron. At our wedding, so I got ready, got my dress on, the limo got me to the church, and my friend was there, the one who had showed me a little bit about how to sew. And, it was maybe 10 minutes before I was supposed to walk down the aisle, and she kind of gave me a look, and I was like, what? And she said, didn't you steam the dress? No. So I personally have to blame my mother because she never taught me to iron, nor to know that you should iron. And my friend pointed, to me the dress looked fine, but my friend pointed out those wrinkles were going to show up in all of the wedding pictures. Somehow she had a steam iron with her, and right before the ceremony was supposed to start, my husband's best friend could be seen running through the church with a steam iron. It was probably, we were supposed to get married at noon. It was probably 11:59, running through the church with a steam iron. 6-foot tall dude. It was great. And then by 12:10, we're frantically trying to steam my dress. And by 12:10, the priest came back there, and he was like, if you don't get out there right now, there will be no wedding. So, I don't know, maybe one boob was steamed, like one side was a little wrinkle-free. I don't know. The skirt was definitely not wrinkle-free. And in the end, it didn't matter. But talk about priceless moments to get on video. Wish I had my husband's best friend running through the church with a steam iron, because I can almost guarantee that's the only time he's ever touched a steam iron. And 2, the priest yelling at me to get my butt out there, and he didn't care if my dress was wrinkled because he was going to let the next couple get married early if I didn't get out there. Would have been great on video. Your wedding is going to have its own unique, crazy, and bat-crazy moments that go on. But what I would like to do is help you learn how to get them on video so you can remember them years later. Because while it's going on, you think you're going to remember it forever, and you probably will the first year or 2 years remember all those details, but it really is like it's yesterday if you can actually watch them and relive them and sit on your couch, have some popcorn, have some beers, bourbon if you're me, and really watch those moments again. So anything going on before the ceremony, the best way to get them on video is really this. Have your friends, a lot of times your bridesmaids and groomsmen, of course, I would hope they're not there filming things, but literally like a minute before the ceremony is supposed to start. But plenty of your other friends will be there, and back in the bride's room, or if you're having an outdoor wedding, I don't know, back by the tree, getting ready. Ask your other friends who are there to help you capture those moments, to film you getting ready right before the ceremony, the nerves, whatever's going on, the craziness, and ask them to capture all of that. Ask them, if you have the WeddingMix cameras, ask them, if they'll be the ones to hold them. Even if later on in the day and the pre-wedding stuff you had the bridesmaids and the groomsmen holding it, ask someone else who you know is good at filming to get those special moments right before the ceremony for you and the ceremony itself. All right, so what I would love is if you want to, I'm going to be putting this Hangout up live on the blog tomorrow. If you have any questions about your own moments, you want me to teach you how to film, feel free to leave it in the comments, and I'll film a tutorial just for your special occasion so you can use it to capture it on wedding video. Well, and let's see if there's any questions. Nope, that's it for today. So feel free, again, leave comments, let me know what you'd like a video tutorial on, and I will teach you how to film it with one of these or with one of the WeddingMix cameras. That's it. Have a great evening.